Hi there, good evening and welcome along to Deadline Day. Vicky, they've kept us apart for 6 months. We're sharing the studio again. It's good to see you. After the longest window in history, 10 weeks in total, there are now less than 6 hours for Premier League clubs to get their business done.
There certainly is. All eyes, though, on Manchester United in particular. Cavani, Telles, Sarr, Dembele, Sancho. Which one of them will end up at Old Trafford by the close of play this evening? Elsewhere, will PSG come back in for a third time to try and sign Spurs midfielder Dele Alli? We're going to be live to their training grounds.
Arsenal are expected to be busy. There is now an increased expectation that they will sign a new £45 million midfielder tonight.
Theo Walcott looks set for an emotional return to Southampton 14 years after he left the club.
And we'll be hearing from the biggest signing of the day so far. That is Everton's new £20 million man, Ben Godfrey. Right, let's start then, shall we, with Manchester United, who are closing in on 2 new signings this evening, but their business might not be finished there. Let's get to James Cooper. He's at Old Trafford, ready to bring us right up to date with what is happening. Good evening to you, James. Where are we? Less than 6 hours to go now. Is it just a matter of time until Cavani and Alex Telles are confirmed by United?
Yeah, I think it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game that's been played by everybody who are here at Old Trafford, waiting to say they are Manchester United's first 2 signings of deadline day. And I think there possibly could be more. We know that they've been taking their medicals today. We know that Telles in particular has to jet off to Brazil to play for the national side in their couple of games they have towards the end of the week, I think on Saturday and next Wednesday. So they're deals that have to be done, and I can't see the problem in either of them, really. Edinson Cavani will come here, you know, with goals on his mind, and also the idea of being something similar to the likes of Zlatan and also Henrik Larsson, in perhaps galvanising the dressing room, providing leadership, but also providing a striking option that maybe they haven't got amongst the likes of Rashford, Greenwood and Martial. And for Alex Telles, I think it bolsters Manchester United's defensive options and gives them a fullback in a sort of stature perhaps of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's a bigger frame. He's quick up and down, and he scores goals. He scored more than 20 in his 4 seasons at Porto. So I think those will be done. Cavani on a 2-year deal, Telles on a 5-year deal. Telles around about a £15 million one. And I think one of the other interesting things will be what shirt numbers they're given, bearing in mind, of course, that I think Manchester United went through the summer leaving the number 7 shirt, their hallowed number 7 shirt, vacant. Perhaps Edinson Cavani might end up as Manchester United's number 7 rather than perhaps Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, and that Jadon Sancho bids and the effort to bring him in went on all summer. It was one of the stories of the window, wasn't it, really, James? What can you tell us about a couple of newer names, if you like? Ismail Assar, we've had this link before, and also the name of Ahmed Triori.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'll go with Sarr first, because I think there have been talks between Manchester United and Watford over a kind of prolonged basis. I get the impression, certainly with Watford being a championship club, that Watford would have looked at the situation and thought, if we can get someone like that off our books, get some money in, do a permanent deal, then that would be great. If not, get a loan maybe with an obligation to buy. And I don't think either of those things were to Manchester United's liking. I'm not even convinced that, although they had talks with Watford, that Sarr was really high up on their pecking order when it came down to finding who they wanted to perhaps fulfill that right-wing berth without Jadon Sancho. It doesn't mean that he wasn't a choice, he wasn't an option, but certainly the messages I'm getting from people inside Old Trafford is that that's a deal that's not going to happen. Now, I know Dharmesh Sheth has been talking about it and knows kind of the workings of Watford and what they want almost intimately, and there might be a possibility that Manchester United perhaps do that between now and the window closing in the Championship, which is next weekend. But they also, of course, have that knowledge that they have to get players in by tomorrow night to get them into their Champions League squad. So I don't think Ismail Assar is something that's going to happen today on transfer deadline day. I think Ahmed Triori, I think, is certainly a name that Manchester United like, a player they've been scouting extensively, albeit, of course, he's only made 3 appearances for Atalanta, but he really is highly rated, 18 years old. The only slight obstacle there is that his citizenship is a problem. He doesn't have an Italian passport, so that means there'll be work permit issues. And I think if Manchester United do reach an agreement with Atalanta over his transfer, it might be that he doesn't arrive in Manchester till January. And I think there could just be another one as well, an 18-year-old from Uruguay, Facundo Pisarella, who may be someone who comes in as well. He plays for Penarol. His manager is Diego Forlan, of course, formerly of Manchester United. And again, I'm told that he is someone that Manchester United would have high hopes for. Might start away outside of the first-team squad, but be fast-tracked as an option. In terms of outgoings, major sticking points with the likes of Romero, with Smalling. I know there's plenty of chatter there, but so far no good in terms of them leaving Manchester United. And I think right now, standing here, it's more likely that the pair of those players remain at Manchester United and Old Trafford, and perhaps look to play bits and pieces games. And maybe with Chris Smalling and what we saw here at Old Trafford last night, perhaps gets back into the good books of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and provides a real threat or an option to the likes of Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly.
James, thank you very much indeed. That is James Cooper at Old Trafford. Manchester United fans, as soon as there's any concrete news, we'll bring it to you. Let's talk Manchester United for a bit more, though. We can cross live to speak to Julian Lescott now, who's with us for the next couple of hours. He's in our Wilmslow studio, not too far from Old Trafford. Good to see you, Julian. Let's start with Edinson Cavani, shall we then? Free transfer on his way into Old Trafford. Now, you've, I think I'm right in saying, come up against him before. What was he like to play against?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to come up against him in my first Champions League game for Man City. Obviously, his goal kind of record speaks for itself. He's prolific in front of goal, an exceptional talent. Has he still got the legs in order to do that in the Premier League? Time will tell if they do get the signing across the line.
Big question, isn't it? I mean, you look at his CV, you look at his achievements, his goal-scoring record. You can't knock any of that, can you, Julian? But at 33 now, as he is, do you think Premier League defenders will be worried about facing him now?
Yeah, I think you have to give him respect. He's earned that right to have that fear in regards to his CV, as you said. Zlatan, there was question marks over him. Could he perform at the level he did or he had proven to do across Europe? The question marks will still be there for Cavani, but I'm sure given the opportunities to score goals, he will do. Is he going to come in there and provide a different threat to the likes of Martial? Of course. But in regards to what he brings experience, he brings a winning mentality, which is what Man United will need to be successful this season.
You know, he's a big name, but we're talking about a striker here. United focusing on strengthening their attacking force. But do they really need to be looking at a centre-back for you, Julian?
Yeah, it's easy to say. They've struggled recently in regards to conceding goals. I heard before that Chris Smalling is one that should be one name that's recommended. He had an exceptional season last year. I don't know what he has actually done wrong in regards to performing well for Man United. Yeah, he's not renowned for playing out from the back, but defensively he's as good as anyone they've got there. So if I was Man United, I'll be looking to keep him, proving that what he did last season, he can be successful for them.
Good stuff. Julian, we'll speak to you much more over the next couple of hours. Thanks for now.
Oh, no thank you from Julian there. Anyway, you better thank me. Dale Chef is here. Arsenal could well be the busiest club today, and they could also make the most expensive potentially. Look, Arsenal fans are crying out for a deadline day signing. Are they going to get one?
Possibly.
Oh,
potentially.
Come on, they want more than that.
Look, the whole summer long we've been speaking about Arsenal and their hunt for a midfielder. Houssam Aouar looked like the one they were after from Lyon. The Lyon president, Jean-Michel Aulas, said they've got a timid bid, we are not accepting it. And Aouar since said that he's staying at Lyon for this season. There was intriguing interest in Chelsea's Jorginho. Always looked like that would be a difficult one to do. But the one that has been a constant throughout the whole of this transfer window is Atletico Madrid midfielder Thomas Partey. But one thing that also has been a constant is Atletico Madrid saying the only way we do business is if someone meets the release clause. And the release clause for Thomas Partey is £45 million. It is our understanding today that Arsenal are pushing very, very hard to get this deal over the line. Now, the Spanish football expert who we had on earlier, he actually said that Arsenal have made contact with La Liga headquarters to say to them and indicate to them we will be meeting the £45 million release clause. Because Arsenal don't actually have to do any negotiation with Atletico Madrid here. They just have to go to La Liga and say, here's the £45 million release clause. We can now talk to Thomas Partey if he wants to talk to us, and then the deal can be done, and then the medical and the personal terms. But time is of the essence. 5 hours, 49 minutes to try and get this one over the line. But let me tell you, Arsenal are trying very, very, very hard to try and get this one over the line.
OK, so that's potentially just the one coming in, potentially then. What about going out?
So this has been the story of the whole window for Arsenal, trying to offload players to raise funds, but also to comply with the Premier League's non-homegrown players rule for players over the age of 21. Too complicated perhaps to go into now, but just to let you know what is happening at the moment. Sky Germany, their reporter, Max Bielefeld, who we know very well here, has just told me the window is shut now in Germany, and he has told me that the Sead Kolasinac proposed move from Arsenal to Bayer Leverkusen, which they were discussing, appears now to be off. We're still waiting for confirmation from that. I've got a message in with Arsenal to find out whether that is the case. Arsenal were hoping to bring in around £10 million for Kolasinac and take him off the wage bill as well. As it stands, and what I've been told from Sky Germany, is that one's off. Matteo Guendouzi, the window, as I mentioned, in Germany is closed. We're waiting for confirmation if his move from Arsenal to Hertha Berlin on loan has gone through, because Arsenal want to get rid of Guendouzi's wages off the books as well. The other one we're waiting to hear about is Lucas Torreira. That one looks a lot closer, a lot more straightforward, but you just never know on deadline day.
So I'm guessing if those ones happen, though, then the Thomas Partey one becomes more...
It looks like, look, it would make it easier, but it looks like Arsenal look like they've got the funds to be able to do the Thomas Partey deal. It looks like now it's just a matter of time as that clock ticks down. The Torreira one, he's been having his medical over the weekend in Madrid, ahead of a loan move with an option to move to Atletico. So still plenty of news to come out of Arsenal this evening, not least, can it be party time, finally, in this window?
I like what you did there. Well
Third time I've used
He's
that.
here all night. He'll keep us across everything. OK, Spanish football expert Alvaro Montero, who you were speaking about earlier, believes that Thomas Partey will have no problem adapting to the Premier League if he does join Arsenal.
Well, I think he's one of the best midfielders in Europe for the next years. Is going to be after his 2 last seasons in Atletico de Madrid. He's, as you said before, typical midfielder that he defends, he attacks. He has also some kind of goal, a typical Premier League player, box to box, as you say there in England. And I think it's going to be a very good transfer for Arsenal for sure, and a good investment, because I think it's going to be a fabulous player there.
I nearly fell off my chair, 45 million. I don't think that's a lot of money at all for the quality of player you're getting here. You know, the one thing he brings as well, discipline. You know, he's played at Atletico Madrid, who probably one of the most disciplined team in Europe, you know, and he will do that. He's not a midfield player that goes running all over the place, and you think, well, where's he gone? He's very disciplined, plays in a disciplined team. I think it'll be a great signing. I like what Arteta's doing. He's trying to get rid of the players that are not involved, don't want them hanging around, and he wants them out, and fair play. I like what they're doing, Arsenal.
Well, look, as we mentioned, Arsenal are still interested in Chelsea midfielder Jorginho as well. Gianfranco Zola worked with Jorginho as an assistant head coach at Stamford Bridge, and he thinks Chelsea should keep him.
Giorgio is not a player that, you know, as I said, he's got a lot of physicality, a lot of mobility, so he cannot cover a huge space of ground, but he's very intelligent, he's always in the right place, and if he's got somebody who can help him on this, then he can make a big difference, because when you give the ball to him, he always dictates the right pass. He's always available to support players that they have the ball and they are in trouble. So in that kind of things, Giorgio is unique. I'm the manager, and I have a player like Giorgio. I would always like to keep him, but it depends very much on what the manager wants.
Right, let's head to the home of the champions now on deadline day, and you can see there Vinny O'Connor and Sue Smith behind us. They are, Vinny, the champions. You've got the Premier League trophy there to prove it, but after that incredible result last night, do you think there's any chance Liverpool might be prompted into the market tonight?
Well, it's a very quiet Anfield today, not least because of that result last night, but also because they are again doing no business on transfer deadline day. As you said, alongside me is Sue Smith. And Sue, I just wonder, given what Liverpool have brought in Thiago, Jota, Costas, did they even need to do any business today?
I don't think they did. No, I think when you look at previous seasons, last season in particular, the quality that Liverpool's shown, the fact that they were so far ahead, I think the balance that they have in the side, I think if we take away yesterday's performance, but you look at defensively, you know, with Van Dijk and Gomez, you've got the top quality goalkeeper in Alisson, you've got that lovely triangle there defensively, the midfield that are just so industrious, bringing in Thiago, then that little bit of quality adds there, the flying fullbacks, if you like, and the front three that are fantastic. And I suppose when you take out one or two or even three of those players in that team, it is going to make a difference. And we saw that yesterday with the performance where it was a case of it wasn't just one player didn't perform or two players didn't perform. You know, it was a collective thing. I think the only player that probably come away with any credit was Mo Salah, and obviously his goals, and every time he got the ball he looked dangerous. So yeah, I think Liverpool have done good business, and I think Jota is probably a backup to that front three.
A few murmurings as to whether they needed to bring in extra cover in goal, obviously because of Adrian's mistake, and they go back of course to Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last season as well. Maybe a little unfair though, because Adrian last season started the first 11 games remarkably well.
He did, and when Alisson obviously, yeah, like you say, he had that injury, he came in and he was consistent, but I just think he's just makes too many errors. We saw that yesterday with the first goal. I felt that the defence didn't look comfortable in front of him. So I know there's been a lot of Liverpool fans that have said that they need a backup keeper if Alisson does get injured. But yeah, he did well in those games. I just think he makes too many mistakes for when Liverpool play in those really big important games.
And no one going out as it stands for Liverpool as well. So no move for Shaqiri, no move for Grujic. We understand Werder Bremen were interested in Grujic as well. Just how difficult a position is it for that kind of player when, of course, Grujic has been out on loan, had regular first team football. Shaqiri has had his injuries and not getting regular first team football.
It is difficult as a player, and I suppose it just shows that Jurgen Klopp is happy with the squad that he's got. I watched Grujic in the League Cup against Arsenal. I thought he performed well. I thought he was a different threat for Liverpool. He was good at set pieces. He was obviously good in the air. And then you just look at, I don't know, Shaqiri, yes, of course, he's going to want that game time, but he probably also wants to be involved in this Liverpool side, this successful Liverpool side. And if he can become injury-free when he does perform, when he does play for Liverpool, I always think he plays well.
Just finally then, Sue, and briefly as well, how much work will Jurgen Klopp have to do just to lift the squad that he's got after the disappointment of last night?
I think they've got to watch that game. They've got to learn from it, which they will. And I think it's just moved forward. I think there was just so many mistakes individually, collectively. I can't see that happening again for Liverpool.
Thanks very much for now, Sue. After the break as well, we will be talking not just about Everton and what they're doing across Stanley Park, but we'll also have a whole host of Liverpool names to speak to as well.
Great stuff, Vinny. Thanks very much indeed.
Now Marcelo Bielsa is closing in on another new signing for Leeds. Stay with us for more details on that.
At this moment in time, I just feel everyone is tired. You know, a lot of people have been screaming for help in different areas of life, society.
I hope you get AIDS.
I've been called a dumb.
F off, you chief pig-faced C-words.
If I see your filthy black C-word.
It's not okay to say some of the things people say on social media.
It's vile, it's horrible, it's cowardly.
It's usually sexist and racist.
I didn't quite know how to process it or what I'd done to deserve it.
You sort of go all hot and you feel angry, and it's very hard not to respond.
Because ultimately all I'm doing is a job, but it's a job that I work really hard at.
I've been called fat and that I put weight on when I was pregnant.
I love how you wear makeup because you are so ugly without it.
Hate and lover.
Banana emojis sent to me. I've had the gorilla emojis sent to me.
Why don't you F off back to where he came from and take the C with you?
You'd never say it to my face in the street, so I don't know what gives people the right to say such cruel things.
It was so abusive and so direct and hurtful.
And I am sadly used to dealing with this. I come to expect it now on social media.
Someone's suffering with a mental health issue. What happens then when the damage is irreparable?
Because you're on a television or a radio doesn't mean that you don't have feelings.
We have to work together to try and put a halt to it.
But I worry about those that don't have a thick skin, that
haven't got a support network around them. Seeing the effects of hate campaigns, because one of my best friends took her own life. That big ugly grin. I hope you can join your brother in death soon. He probably killed himself to get away from you.
Yellow. For so long, it's been the colour of transfer deadline day here on Sky Sports News. But now, it's going to be green as well. As part of Sky's ambition to go net zero by 2030, we're doing things differently this year. Our coverage will be a certified 3-star Albert sustainable production.
Who's Albert? I don't know any Albert.
Did you say Albert? Yeah, I definitely know the name.
Albert on deadline day. Heard of him?
Albert. Who? Do you know Albert?
Didn't he used to play for Chelsea up front a few years ago? Big man, target man, lovely first touch.
I don't know an Albert. Is somebody trying to buy him or something?
So what's Albert up to these days?
Well, Rob, Albert is the gold standard when it comes to environmental sustainability in TV and film. It's a BAFTA and industry-backed consortium set up to tackle the environmental impact of broadcasting, whether it's reducing travel or encouraging everyone to go vegan for the day. We're taking many steps to reduce our carbon footprint to make this the greenest deadline day ever.
So what's that? You don't want me to wear a yellow tie this year, you want me to wear a green tie? Okay, got it.
Hi there, welcome back. It is transfer deadline day, of course, and I know that Liverpool fans might be feeling a little bit groggy after that 7-2 defeat yesterday. So we've got something to cheer you up right now, because let's head back to Anfield. Our reporter, Vinny O'Connor, has a whole host of Liverpool legends, I believe, Vinny.
Yeah, we all saw how disappointed Jamie Carragher was last night, his reaction after last night's game. I just wonder how he's feeling today as well, because, Jamie, you weren't impressed with that high line Liverpool kept last night.
Well, no, they were all over the place, I'm not feeling good today. I mean, I thought you were talking about the positioning, the back four, the high line. What are they doing? They're all over the place, not to improve that. And half an hour earlier, I'm laughing at Gary Neville. And all of a sudden, Liverpool do that. And, for me, it's very disappointing. And, Adrian, I don't know what Adrian's doing. I think Adrian's in big trouble. I think he is. The rule is you're only allowed to let 6 in. And he's let 7 in. Absolute joke. And But look at the scene, I think both sides. Liverpool have got to improve, got to come back. And Jurgen Klopp, you've got to look at Jurgen Klopp's position. You've got to look at it and go, what's he done? Since he's been here, what's he done? Apart from making Liverpool the greatest attacking team in Europe and win every trophy possible. Apart from that, what's he done? It's all over the place. Got to improve, Vinny.
I just wonder what Brendan Rodgers made of it all as well. Disappointing weekend for Brendan. Of course, he came so close to winning the Premier League here with Liverpool as well.
Well, I'm very proud to be here. Very proud. And certainly, Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp is a wonderful, beautiful human being job there. He's a wonderful guy. Certainly great character. Not as, great as Kolo Toure, but certainly a beautiful human being. But look, Klopp's breaking a lot of records. He won the Premier League. I didn't win that. He won the Champions League. I didn't win that. And I conceded 6 goals against Stoke City, and he conceded 7, so he's even broke that record. So he's a wonderful, beautiful human being. But certainly, he's doing a very good job. Liverpool need to bounce back. But I think this season Leicester City will win the Premier League. Certainly very proud. Me and Kolo Toure.
I think maybe Liverpool could have done with an old talisman in Steven Gerrard last night, couldn't they?
Yeah, of course. It was very disappointing to watch. I think if I'd have been on there, things would have been different. It was a difficult game, but Villa played very well. Realistically, there's times I think to myself, will Liverpool come in and ask me to go in and take the job? I've got great experience now. I've beaten St Mirren away, and I'm sure I could come in and do a very good job. So Jurgen's on borrowed time at the moment, but yeah, of course.
What about Rafa Benitez?
Yeah, I think always when you talk about this, I say that the people, the club, the squad. So I say Liverpool was a really good club. They have to work hard. They have to be compact. They have to do the things in the right way. And it was hard, but they have to be tough. They have to be very hard and physical. I say about you have to have a tough player. When I was at Liverpool, we had a very tough player called Javier Mascherano. And he was so hard. One time at half-time, he came off with a big gashed leg. We still don't know whose leg that was, but yeah, he was fantastic. For the club, fantastic. So, okay.
Thanks very much for joining us, Darren. Darren Farley there, of course, bringing us the condensed Liverpool reaction from a host of legends in about 2 minutes or so.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Vinny and Darren.
Brilliant. Everyone in the studio laughing. I hope you enjoyed that at home. He's absolutely fantastic. I could be cruel and ask our reporter Rob Dorset to do his best impression of Gareth Southgate, because we're about to talk England, but I'm not going to do that because it's a serious story we're going to speak to you about, Rob. You're there to cover Leicester and Aston Villa and all their deals today, but of course there have been developments on the story about another potential breach of coronavirus protocols by England players. So what can you tell us?
Jules, you don't want to hear my impressions, but I think Gareth Southgate is doing a very good impression of a very angry England manager right now. I understand he's absolutely furious that after what happened in Iceland, when, of course, Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood were sent home in disgrace to a large extent, having breached the coronavirus rules out there and gone outside the England eco-bubble, it seems like 3 more England stars have done exactly the same. Let's put it into context for you. Tammy Abraham was given a surprise birthday party on Saturday night at his home in London, a surprise party that he knew nothing about, but it's pretty clear from the photographs and the videos from that night that there were many more than just 6 people there, including Jadon Sancho and Ben Chilwell. So clearly in breach of the UK government rules, the rule of 6 was exceeded there. They're in breach of the coronavirus rules. And the England team and Gareth Southgate has decided to keep them away from the rest of the squad right now. The rest of the squad signed up at St George's Park earlier today around lunchtime, but those 3 players were told to stay away whilst the FA continues to investigate the circumstances of what happened at that party and to be sure that all 3 players pose no risk to the other members of the squad. Now, I understand that medically there is no problem for them joining because they will be all tested for coronavirus before they're allowed into the camp, as is the case with the rest of the England players. So as long as they tested negative, I don't see any reason why they couldn't join in. And certainly under UEFA rules, that's fine. But clearly Gareth Southgate is considering his options here and deciding whether it was in England jurisdiction that they breached these coronavirus rules, whether he has any comeback towards them, whether he wants to have that. Because bear in mind today, we also heard that Raheem Sterling has pulled out of the England squad because of a minor hamstring strain. That gives him problems in wide attacking positions. Does he want to drop Jadon Sancho when he needs him for these 3 games? Likewise, Ben Chilwell, the only recognised left-back in the squad. So big decisions for him to make while he tries to work it all out. But I understand he will, later on this evening, remind the rest of the squad about their responsibilities, not only around the coronavirus regulations, but also their responsibility once they sign up for England and as part of the national team. To that end as well, while Sterling's out, we've had one good bit of news for Chelsea because their young defender Reece James has been promoted from the under-21s to take his place in the senior team for the first time. So instead of 30 players in that original squad, he's now got 27. One of those is Reece James. He's lost Raheem Sterling. May he yet lose Tammy Abraham, Jadon Sancho and Ben Chilwell.
Plenty on Gareth Southgate's plate once again. Rob, you're there at Leicester Stadium. What can you tell us about potential incomings or outgoings before 11 p.m?
I think it's unlikely that Leicester are going to bring any more incomings in. That might change if they can get one or two out. And to that end, Rashid Ghazal, the man they spent more than £20 million on, the replacement, if you like, for Riyad Mahrez when he moved to Manchester City, hasn't really hit it off here at King Power Stadium. He is in Istanbul, where we understand he's now completed his medical and is expected to join Besiktas on a season-long loan. That one is very, very close. There may be one or two others that they're trying to get out, but we wait to see. Ghazal looking most likely out. Nobody at the moment coming in for Leicester, but that could change with several hours in the window left.
OK, for now, Rob, thank you very much.
Manchester United are chasing signings before tonight's deadline, and we'll have the latest on a move for this man, Ahmed Triori.
We are all one human race, and we need to come together now more than ever to stop racism.
Yellow. For so long, it's been the colour of transfer deadline day here on Sky Sports News. But now, it's going to be green as well. As part of Sky's ambition to go net zero by 2030, we're doing things differently this year. Our coverage will be a certified 3-star Albert sustainable production.
Who's Albert? I don't know any Albert.
Did you say Albert? Yeah, I definitely know the name.
Albert's on deadline day. Heard of him?
Albert.
Who? Do you know Albert?
Didn't he used to play for Chelsea up front a few years ago? Big man, target man, lovely first touch.
I don't know an Albert. Is somebody trying to buy him or something?
So what's Albert up to these days?
Well, Rob, Albert is the gold standard when it comes to environmental sustainability in TV and film. It's a BAFTA and industry-backed consortium set up to tackle the environmental impact of broadcasting. Whether it's reducing travel or encouraging everyone to go vegan for the day, we're taking many steps to reduce our carbon footprint to make this the greenest deadline day ever.
So what's that? You don't want me to wear a yellow tie this year, you want me to wear a green tie. OK, got it.
Welcome to Stamford Bridge then, where we have the perfect view to watch the champions' first away game of their title defence.
There was definitely areas last season that you thought needed strengthening.
I just hope we get goals.
Today will be a tough game for Chelsea.
Jamie Vardy's performance summed him up. City had 5 shots on target in the whole 90 minutes.
Are you seeing this right now?
Thank you very much. It's been entertaining.
Yeah, the breaking news is the one that we were expecting. We were speaking to Dharma Sheth just a few moments ago, weren't we, saying that Matteo Guendouzi could be on his way to Hertha Berlin. Well, the deal has been done. It's a season-long loan. Of course, he made 82 appearances for Arsenal. He hadn't played for them, though, since that defeat to Brighton back in June. But he started his career at Paris Saint-Germain's academy before joining Lorient. And he came to Arsenal after that. But the club wishes him well. So Matteo Guendouzi goes with good thanks from Arsenal, and he goes to Hertha Berlin on a season-long loan.
Right, let's talk about a possible incoming at Leeds United now. Earlier on this morning, we broke the news to you that Leeds had agreed a deal with the winger Rafinha from Rennes in France. But where are we? 5:30, and it's still not been confirmed. Fans always get a little bit twitchy and edgy when that happens, Tim Thornton. Any reason to be overly concerned if you're a Leeds fan?
I don't think so, but deadline day would be boring if these deals were done in literally hours. It's taken a little bit of time, but let's not forget he played yesterday for his side in France for Rennes. They drew 2-2, he scored and assisted. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind for him. He jumped on a plane late last night, arrived in the early hours of the morning, so they've had to go through all the protocols involved in a transfer, the whole process throughout the course of the day, undergoing a medical, and we're just waiting for the green light on this one to say that the deal is done. So Leeds fans, be patient, we're hoping it's close. I can tell you one player could be going out today, Matthias Bogus, the young Polish midfielder. He looks like he could be on his way to Spain in a loan deal. And Dan James from Manchester United, another player that Leeds have been linked with throughout this transfer window. They've been prepared to get him on loan and on a permanent deal. They've been really keen to get him in, but it looks as though it is going to be Rafinha instead. And we're just waiting patiently to say that this is a done deal.
And Tim is at the right place to let us know when it is. Thanks, Tim. Let's head to Tottenham now. They are often busy on deadline day. Can we expect any new arrivals there, I wonder? The man to tell us is Paul Gilmore with his brolly. It's chucking it down across the country, isn't it, tonight? Paul, I mean, Spurs fans have already seen Gareth Bale, one of the biggest names in world football, come back through the door. So it's not been a bad window, but anything to get them excited tonight, do you think?
I think the only thing to get them excited tonight is the fact that they're still living off that memory of 6 goals against Manchester United at Old Trafford last night and the 7 goals on Thursday in the Europa League. They're scoring goals for fun, aren't they? And we talk about incomings at Tottenham. We talk what would complete the puzzle for Jose Mourinho, and completing that puzzle would be to add a centre-back, and there's no doubt that Tottenham have been working behind the scenes to try and give Jose Mourinho his wish, and it really would make a 9 out of 10 window and turn it into a 10 out of 10 window. But as things stand, things looking very unlikely as the hours tick by and time runs out. People like Milan Skriniar will definitely not become a Tottenham player in this window. The valuation was just too far apart to what Inter Milan wanted. Antonio Rudiger looking increasingly unlikely as well. A whole host of targets. Joe Rodden of Swansea. Kabak, the Schalke defender. All of these targets and many more, and nothing really has come close to get over the line. But I can say there is no panic here, and we know Tanganga has had his injury troubles of late, but Tottenham do feel privately with Eric Dyer, with Tanganga, with Alderweireld, and Ben Davies as well, somebody who can cover that left-sided centre-back role if required, if they do have any further injuries. So there's certainly no panic here. It has been a good window for them. Gareth Bale, you mentioned, being the standout. But that's where we stand at the moment, and that's what we're looking at the moment, edging towards sticking with 6 signings. 6, of course, a really good number for Tottenham this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. So 6 incomings. What about outgoings then, Paul?
Well, outgoings, we still wait to see what happens with Danny Rose and Paulo Gazzaniga. Gazzaniga could well leave before tonight's deadline, perhaps on loan. Danny Rose as well. He's always been difficult to move on when Tottenham have made him available in previous windows. Of course, he did make that move to Newcastle. Some talk of Porto being interested in him. We're just waiting to hear what will happen over the next couple of hours with Danny Rose. Ryan Sessegnon has already made his way out, officially confirmed as a Hoffenheim player today on loan until the end of the season. In fact, he has been speaking about what he hopes to achieve from his season-long loan in Germany.
I'm very excited to get going, you know. It's a club that produces young players into big players in one of the most competitive leagues in the world. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here and can't wait to get going. To come here and play a lot of games, you know, and to get minutes under my belt, develop under a good manager as well. So, yeah, can't wait to get going.
So Ryan Sessegnon is gone, at least for the season. And one player who will not be leaving today, and that is Serge Aurier.
Good stuff, Paul. Thank you.
OK, Kaveh Solokar is here to talk all things Chelsea. Now, we know that they've got to offload some players. Antonio Rudiger, going, staying? What's he doing?
Look, at the moment, it looks like he is definitely staying. It's a bit of a strange case, Antonio Rudiger, because last season he was a first-choice centre-back at Chelsea. But I think he's kind of fallen out with Frank Lampard over the past few months, so much so that he keeps being left out of their matchday squads. Now, lots of clubs were interested in signing him on loan. Clubs like PSG, Roma, Spurs. I don't think that was ever a runner, because Chelsea historically don't do business with Spurs. There's a bit of a bad feeling there. But the latest information we're getting just in the last few minutes, my colleague Dharmesh Sheth is close to this deal, like he's close to a lot of deals.
Yes.
And he is telling me that the people close to Antonio Rudiger at the moment are very relaxed. As far as they're concerned, it looks like he will be staying at Chelsea. And I think the main reason is because this window is now closing on October the 6th. It's only, 2.5 months before the next window opens. So as far as Antonio Rudiger is concerned, he's got this opportunity now, 2.5 months, to try and get back in the Chelsea squad, to prove to Frank Lampard that he deserves his place in that team. If not, then he can revisit the situation and in January maybe move somewhere else. But at the moment, we're being told it looks like he's staying unless something extraordinary happens in the next few hours.
But not Spurs. No business between these two clubs, which I find extraordinary. But anyway, that's another story. Tammy Bakayoko, what about him? Because we see him go on loan a lot. Is he going on loan again?
I mean, he is an amazing story. Chelsea signed him for £40 million 3 years ago, and he didn't have the impact at Stamford Bridge that everybody hoped he would have. He went out on loan to AC Milan, he went out on loan to Monaco, and today he is in Napoli sorting out a loan move. So another loan move for Tammy Bakayoko. He'll be at Napoli for the rest of the season. Lots of other players as well who could have been leaving Chelsea today. Hudson-Odoi looks like he's staying. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, still a lot of interest in taking him on loan. Clubs like Fulham. Malang Sarr, the young centre-back, he's going on loan to Porto. And also still question marks about Emerson, Alonso and Kepa, but no takers at the moment.
All right, brilliant stuff. Thank you, Kaveh.
Right, let's update you on what's happening with Theo Walcott this deadline day. On his way back to the club where he really made his name as a teenager, Southampton, of course. Let's find out the latest with him from Rebecca Williams, who, as we deliver deadline day in a more sustainable way on Sky Sports News, is covering Southampton and Brighton from her office at home today. Good evening to you, Becky. Where are we with Walcott's return to Southampton then?
Yeah, I certainly am. Well, I'm hearing that he's now arrived back down south. He's undergoing his medical as we speak. It's all looking really positive, this. Expecting this deal to be done by the deadline at 11 o'clock. It is, of course, a loan move. We understand that both clubs will then split his salary 50-50. And what a great reunion it will be for Theo Walcott, because, of course, he started his career in the Southampton Academy. He moved up through the ranks. And actually, he is their youngest first-team player at 16 years and 143 days. So what a record. He was playing in the Championship at the time, but actually it was Harry Redknapp who promoted him to the first team, who we've got on a bit later on. So it would be interesting to get his thoughts on Theo Walcott's potential move back to Southampton. So we've got our eyes peeled, we've got our ears to the ground. We'll keep you updated on that, but it's all looking very, very positive at the moment. And of course, he seems to have fallen out of favour slightly with Carlo Ancelotti as James Rodriguez has joined the side. So it would be a really good move for him. Just something else I want to bring you as well. In the last couple of minutes, we got confirmation that Guido Carrillo has moved on a free to Elche, the Spanish club. So that has just been done. We know that Southampton are keen to get a few players out, because obviously they've brought a few in. So the other ones that they're keen to take offers on are the likes of Angus Gunn, their goalkeeper. Soufiane Boufal, he's been linked with Angers. And Wesley Hoot, we're confident that his move to Lazio will be confirmed by that 11 o'clock deadline. But everyone's talking at the moment about Theo Walcott. Like I say, he is now down south. He's carrying out his medical. We are confident that that loan move will be done before 11 o'clock.
Rebecca Williams on Walcott Watch for us. Thank you very much.
Oh, I like that. Walcott Watch.
The alliteration on deadline day.
I like it, yes. Well done. Look at this. It's been a difficult start to the season for Scott Parker. He's absolutely desperate for signings, but will he get them? We'll get the latest from Fulham in the next hour.
People don't have the time to be able to take a moment, just a moment. We've got to stay on this because otherwise it will never change.
Yellow. For so long, it's been the colour of transfer deadline day here on Sky Sports News. But now, it's going to be green as well. As part of Sky's ambition to go net zero by 2030, we're doing things differently this year. Our coverage will be a certified 3-star Albert sustainable production.
Who's Albert? I don't know any Albert.
Did you say Albert? Yeah, I definitely know the name.
Albert on deadline day. Heard of him?
Albert. Who? Do you know Albert?
Didn't he used to play for Chelsea up front a few years ago? Big man, target man, lovely first touch.
I don't know an Albert. Is somebody trying to buy him or something?
So what's Albert up to these days?
Well, Rob, Albert is the gold standard when it comes to environmental sustainability in TV and film. It's a BAFTA and industry-backed consortium set up to tackle the environmental impact of broadcasting. Whether it's reducing travel or encouraging everyone to go vegan for the day, we're taking many steps to reduce our carbon footprint to make this the greenest deadline day ever.
So what's that? You don't want me to wear a yellow tie this year, you want me to wear a green tie. Okay, got it.
Looks like Manchester United could be one of the busiest clubs before 11 p.m. and the transfer deadline. Edinson Cavani, Alex Telles, both on the verge of joining. Let's head to Sue Smith now, who can give us her thoughts on everything Manchester United. Sue, still at Anfield for us. Sue, good evening once again. Cavani, let's start with him, edging closer to a move to Old Trafford. You know, 33 years old, but what a CV he's got, the goal-scoring record he's got as well. Is this a good signing then for United, or the fact that they're signing a player on deadline day itself who's been looking for a club all summer, does it also have an air of desperation about it?
It does, Jules, and I think that's what's been frustrating Manchester United fans, isn't it? That they've left it so late. Yes, they've brought in Van der Beek and added to that central midfield area, but is that actually where they needed to add? Yes, he brings quality, but I look at Cavani and I do think it's a last minute. It's something that, yes, they want to bring in a striker. He's 33 years old. He is a proven goal scorer. We know the qualities that he's got. He has been world class, playing for PSG, playing for his country, Uruguay. But it just seems a little bit desperate from a Manchester United perspective. And you can understand why, like I say, the fans have been frustrated with the transfer window yet again. But what he will bring is he will bring goals.
Jadon Sancho would have brought a lot of strengths if he'd come into Manchester United. It's one of the deals we've been tracking all summer, and here we are on deadline day. I don't think it's going to happen. But if he was United's #1 target over the summer, yes, it's a big fee, but it's Manchester United. Why didn't they just pay the money, do you think?
It is, and I can understand in these times where I think everybody's been affected, haven't they, by the coronavirus. But, of course, he has been your #1 target from the very beginning. We've kept talking about, is Jadon Sancho going to sign for Manchester United? And, again, it's just frustrating that hasn't got over the line because they haven't paid the fee. They didn't do it in time. And, of course, he would have brought so much quality to that Manchester United side. But you look, where do United need to strengthen? They need to strengthen defensively. I think we all saw that yesterday in the game that we watched. It's great bringing in these attacking players, but they have to strengthen defensively in my opinion, that the centre-half position and also the left-back, which obviously, you know, Telles is potentially going through. So I think if that goes through, that's another good signing for Manchester United. But a centre-half had to be priority. So I'm so surprised that hasn't happened.
Yeah, and finally, Sue, so many questions about United's transfer policy, and this is an issue that comes up window after window, but the fact that they do not have a director of football, would it have been a different scenario had they had one?
I think so, and I think that has to happen. When you see it every transfer window and you see it's going down to deadline day and they're scraping around trying to bring in these players that they're clearly not their first choice players, because if they were the first choice players, they would have done it so much earlier on. And like I say, Van der Beek was a great signing to bring in and to bring him in when they did. But now you're bringing in Telles, you're bringing in Cavani, you're looking, do we need another centre-half? Yes, we do. Are we going to bring that in? So it's frustrating from a Manchester United perspective. And of course, if they have that director of football in place, you would say that these sort of things wouldn't be happening and they shouldn't be happening for a club of Manchester United's calibre.
OK, Sue Smith in the rain on Merseyside. Thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, Jules.
Yeah, I reckon it's still raining in Manchester as well. Let's turn our attention to them then. And Manchester City, Ben Ransom is in the dry, though, but has been monitoring any comings and goings. It sounds like it, though, Ben, that there's going to be more goings this time around.
Yes, exactly that. I think Manchester City, they like to do their business well before deadline day. And I think with that signing of Ruben Dias, they did just that, because he was always going to be, or certainly a centre-half was always going to be their marquee signing. And when Dias became the best of the options they looked at, the most affordable, especially with Nicolas Otamendi going the other way, he was essentially going to be the end of their major business. So it is about what the squad looks like going into the rest of the season, because Eric Garcia is really interesting. Now, the clock is ticking on his time here at Manchester City. Not only is his contract up at the end of the season, but we know that Barcelona have a firm interest in him. But up until now, they've not met the valuation that Manchester City have placed on Eric Garcia and the value he adds to their squad for the season, even if they are potentially going to lose him on a free at the end of the season. So, as it stands, he's staying here at Manchester City. However, the interesting part about this is he's away with Spain now, with the national side in Spain. So logistically, it does mean that Barcelona, if they want to do some late business, if they are able to find an agreement with Manchester City over a value for Garcia, could get this deal done tonight. So that's an interesting one to watch. Also interesting to watch the future of Tosin Adarabioyo, a player that's interested Fulham among other Premier League clubs over the summer. Now we expect Fulham to be the main team looking for a signature this evening, but it all depends on what other business they're able to do. How many central defenders Scott Parker's able to bring in before the deadline. So 2 central defenders, potentially 2 departures. The clock ticking.
Yeah, the clock ticking indeed. Thanks, Ben. As if by magic, I can click my fingers and change to Julian Lescott. Yay! Julian, look, good to have you back. Looks like Eric Garcia could then be going. Is this a good move, do you feel, for both parties if he does?
Evening, Vicky. Yeah, well, I think Eric's made it clear he wants to go back to Barcelona, where obviously he started his trade in regards to academy football. And if that's the kind of goal for him, then I'm sure both parties will look to make that happen. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that he's made it known he wants to go back there, and there's only kind of one club in the race kind of thing? So does it bode well for Man City in regards to holding out for the money or the value that they think is warranted of Eric Garcia's qualities?
Yeah, look, we know they've got problems at the back. You know, Pep Guardiola spent over £100 million on the 2 players he's got there at the moment, Ake and Diaz, over £400 million on his defence. Are you happy with what he's got on the 2 centre-backs, though, this time around?
Yeah, in regards to Ake, I think that was a sensible acquisition. He's a proven Premier League player. He can play multiple positions, so we've seen that on the weekend, and I'm sure that'll be the case going forward. Was he coming in to replace Laporte? I don't think so. So the fact that he can play as a left-back and offer a bit more stability defensively than Mendy, and also play in midfield, which he's done for the national team. So in regards to Ake, I think that's a sensible acquisition. Like I said, Ruben Diaz, well, obviously only time will tell. He's coming from a winning team, so he has that mentality, and that's what was looked for in regards to the recruitment side of it. So he's a stature, he has a physical presence, so I'm sure he'll be able to compete in that element. But in regards to will he be the answer to Vincent Kompany, which is everybody wants to know, only time will tell.
Brilliant stuff, Julian. Back to you shortly in the next hour. Thank you.
Yeah, more from Sue Smith and the brilliant impressionist Darren Farley will join us again in the next hour too. And we'll have all the breaking transfer news. This hour we brought you news that Matteo Guendouzi has left Arsenal on loan. One midfielder out. Could that mean another is on his way in? Maybe a £45 million arrival from Spain. It'll be party time if so.